So today, gonna take a look at Ubuntu. Needed to do some work, needed to set up some VMs, do some dev and test work. And due to the nature of this project, some of it's gonna have to be on Ubuntu. So this is some work, but I figured, hey, might as well make a video. So see what comes out of it. I have, in fairness, installed Ubuntu only once before, and that was some years ago. So we're gonna take a look at it. See what there is to see, get my commentary, find out about it, because I know it's quite popular, and I don't know, if it is good, bad. I'm kind of neutral at this point. So create some new machines here. It's going to be two machines. Going to be in a clustered configuration, but we'll just set up one right now and see how it goes. $36 gigs should be plenty. Give it a couple CPUs and host IO cache, and bridged adapter on Ethernet 1. Null audio. Yeah, we don't even need audio. Oh, forgot to add the disk here. So this is going to be Ubuntu 16.4.1 server. Let's see how it goes. Okay, fancy bootloader. Let me switch to scale mode, make this a little bit bigger. Yes, I want English. I want to install. So, nice installation screen. Ask me for the language. I appreciate that. Asking for the language again. I'm in the United States. Keyboard layout. No, I'll pick it. Maybe I'm being kind of Amero-centric, English-centric, I don't know, but I would just imagine most people doing this have a US keyboard, and they spend a lot of time on the keyboard selection. Okay, it's churning a little bit. So I wonder what it's retrieving or loading. Surely I haven't set up a network yet, so maybe loading some modules. IPv6. Interesting. So it auto configures with DHCP, which I don't like. Right? Prompt me. I might want DHCP, but on this network, things are statically assigned. I mean, I do have a DHCP server for things like phones and laptops, and a DHCP range, but a lot of this sort of thing should be a static IP. I'll call this Ubuntu 1. I like the yeah, a bit silly. Do my usual SimH user for this channel. Yeah, I mean, I like that it's a text mode installer. Do I want to encrypt my home directory? No, I don't want to encrypt my home directory. It's good that they offer that as an option. Yeah, I'm in Central Time here. So it's hiding a lot of the details, it looks like, of what is going on. Ooh, I don't want LVM, I don't want encrypted. We'll do manual. Yes, I want a new partition. Automatically partition the free space. Okay, extended 4. I don't know if I want extended 4. Okay, well, cool. They give a nice set of options for your file system. I'm not a big fan of, maybe I'm just spoiled to using something like Gdisk or fdisk or cfdisk more accurately to do partitioning. We're going to call this XFS. Yeah, we are done. So it defaults to extended 4, which isn't the end of the world. I like extended 4. The one thing I didn't see on that list was Riser. Does anyone still use Riser? Well, leave a comment if you still use the Riser file system. Honestly, I never really used Riser. Some of my colleagues have. I was stuck with either the extended or, once it was available, XFS or JFS, depending on the workload. My favorite being XFS. I mean, it came from SGI. It's a pretty good file system. JFS also excellent file system. They have their pluses and minuses. But one of my early jobs in my career saw huge disk arrays with XFS with SGI gear, and it worked really, really well. So. It seems to be chugging along pretty quickly. I mean, this is only a CD size image, so I can't imagine it's going to take too long to install, especially since they put in all those languages. Okay, so now, is this downloading stuff? Retrieving? I mean, it was loading earlier. I'm going to guess this is retrieving since they put a progress there. But I don't know. Probably should read the documentation. Again, if there are some flags or options to say, "Ooh, I want verbose mode," leave a comment. And what are your thoughts on Ubuntu? So far, I'm not impressed. Nothing I particularly hate at this point, except that it forced me to do DHCP. That should be a choice. Hey, do you want a static IP address, or do you want to get one automatically? Seems like a really easy choice to add in that dialog and that configuration point. And that they didn't include everything in the installation media. That's a little annoying. I mean, it's possible. Again, I don't really know what I'm doing with Ubuntu, but I could have downloaded the wrong image to say, oh, this one is a network install. But if it's a net install, why is it still 600 or some megs? Interesting. And this part's it's taken a little bit. So my understanding is, going back to my Debian knowledge, and I know Ubuntu is based on Debian. apt is the package management tool. So it's obviously getting some package. No, I don't want automatic updates. I find them annoying. Yes, we want SSH. We do want Apache, so we'll do LAMP. And we'll do manual package selection, see what the options are here. That's annoying. I don't want to set a password for MySQL now. And they prompt me again for the same password. Yeah. That is definitely annoying. Well, it'll be interesting to see. I probably won't look at it in this video about the MySQL. That's something interesting, MySQL. Now, Slackware has been shipping with MariaDB, which is sort of MySQL compatible, I guess. A little fuzzy on the details, but it works for me much better, and you're avoiding Oracle, which is always a good thing. But this apparently does MySQL. I saw OpenSCSI fly by, which is nice to see. That is one, I think, and maybe they've changed this in 14 too. But one of the things Slackware doesn't support well is iSCSI. Again, the use case for iSCSI not as prevalent as I would. It's not as important a gap as it may seem. I tend to prefer NFS for a lot of things. This is one of the big failings with Windows. So I'm, like I said, I'm on one Windows machine, and it would be nice to be able to do network attached storage on Windows easily. And I'm my house here mainly Unix environments, right? So NFS 3 primarily, although some of the older NFS versions for some of the ancient gear would be the logical choice. But Windows, you have to buy the fancy, like, enterprise Windows 10 to get NFS, which is crazy. It's like an open protocol, and yet they want to charge you for it. It is Microsoft. What they do well to embrace NFS has a lot of advantages over what CIFS/SMB. I certainly prefer it. So for my Windows needs, I still need to run Samba for network attached storage. So it uses Grub. I mean, that's standard. I think Slackware is probably the only one left that uses Lilo, which is, I don't know, kind of a shame. I mean, I started out my first Linux bootloader. I think I just wrote the kernel and to the boot block. I'm trying to remember. This was like 92, 93, really old time, really long time ago. But I'll continue. Hopefully it's going to automatically eject the CD. But Lilo works really well, and it should be more popular. Now it looks like we are booting. Not a whole big delay on Grub. That can be fixed. Fonts look a little silly here with the aspect ratio. That's because of the scale mode here, right? So I stretched things. Oh, that's annoying. Why don't you allow root logins? I know it's... So this is my first almost unforgivable frustration. It's one thing to say, oh, SSH, you can't log in as root, but at the console, if you have console access to a machine, physical access especially, you can get in, right? So just allow root logins at the console. It's not that difficult. I know what the recent Solaris 11 did the same thing. Locked out root. Let's see if I can... Okay. So no root password was set. So now I can just do an SU, which makes a bit more sense. So let's see what's installed. No GCC. Okay. There's probably not Fortran either. At least we get Perl. 522. Okay, not bad. Let's see, what else should we look for here? They don't have GCC. I find that crazy. Let's see about headers. And of course no headers. So, second big frustration here. A Unix or Unix-like system should have a C compiler and should have headers in there. By default, headers take up no room whatsoever. GCC to just do the C++ and the C compiler takes up very little room. Disk is cheap these days. They don't even put make in there. This is crazy. Whew. Yeah. So, short on software. So let's see if there's more than one GCC, because I need GCC 5 series. Okay, GCC 5. Yeah, so 99 megs. 99 megs, that's what they're saving here with GCC. Not including it. Well, when this is done, we'll see how much storage the install used overall. So it was 1.6 gigs without GCC. It went up to 1.7. So now we actually have a compiler and some headers. Obviously things like just say read line, right? So you're compiling R, you're building R. One of the things that's going to go in this project is R. So I'll need to get read line. Let me put that in there. Read line. Well, I have to say at least apt is intuitive. So typically there would be like a readline dev, so it's saying that's installed. History libraries, common files. Maybe there's something at the head of that list. And so this is the problem with dependencies and package trees. Just have a complete system. Slackware does it better. The BSDs do it better in a way. Yeah, we're gonna quit that. So let's just try installing the R package. So let's search for Xorg, see if we can get X. I'm looking for some sort of meta package that would have things in it, and maybe it's X11. Let's just install Xterm since it can do dependencies. But is this actually going to install an X server? I don't know. Good question. Okay, so we have X11 common. So how does this stack up? I don't know. I think all things being equal, if I needed a kind of a, supported corporate style distribution, I'd have to say this doesn't beat Red Hat. For all of Red Hat's warts, and it certainly has many, that's why I'd go with, if I needed something Red Hat like, I'd go with something like Scientific Linux, which fixes some of the problems. But there are just some annoyances here, and maybe as I use this more, some of those annoyances will disappear. At least they did have kind of a, they resolved dependencies fine, but you wouldn't need to do that if you had a big install. So if one were to take, say, KDE out of a Slackware install, which is take out KDE XFCE, you're not that much bigger than this. I mean, you don't get kernel source. So yeah, so we can't install the guest editions without the kernel source. So let's see about changing the network. So I'm just poking around. Okay. The interfaces file defines the interface. Okay. See interfaces. Probably gonna turn this video off now because I think it's now become a little boring because it is me iNet static address gateway. ENP0 is 3. Why did that not work? Address, gateway. I don't know why that wouldn't work. Well, something to figure out later. Hope this was informative. It certainly was for me to play around with Ubuntu. I know it gets a lot of buzz, a lot of recommendations. I think to sum it up, based on this kind of first impression, is it might be easier for a novice user. The documentation was certainly there. In the manual page, for example, to say how to set up your interface, But if you compare this with, say, the Slackware network config, there's commentary about it, right? So you don't even have to go to the man page, because commentary adds very little space in these things, right? So in your installation, it's compressed, so text gets shrunk quite well. And then in the actual file, it doesn't take up that much room. So if this was commented to say, oh, here's an example of how you set a static, here's an example of a DHCP, a dynamic address there. I mean, the package manager seemed to work pretty well. Package dependency, I mean, it's no better than RPMs. Although it's a different format. Maybe we could look at a format in a follow-on video if someone wants to see it. Doesn't come with a whole lot out of the box. You don't get a C compiler. You don't get headers. Let's just check to make sure. You get the kernel headers, but you don't get the source. So maybe we could build the guest editions. You don't get a whole lot. You get the MySQL. At least the package, there's some functionality to say, hey, if you're missing something that's in their database, hey, here's the command to run to install it. Here's what package it might be in. So for instance, so we can go and install make. And of course I blew away my gateway. So now we get make, and it's GNU Make version 4, which is perfectly fine. Yeah, so I don't know. Leave a comment below if you want to see me play around on Ubuntu some more. If it weren't for this one project, I would not be using it. And now that I've looked at it, I probably don't think I'd pick it for anything else. Again, as my commentary on various different OS's, flavors of things go, it's all, it's horses for courses, right? So what might work for a specific task or a specific person may not for others. So do bear that in mind. If this seems too negative, to quote Curtis LeMay, it just doesn't fit. So I guess that'll be it for now. I gotta go figure out what I'm gonna do for dinner. And hopefully be back with another video soon.